Our next panel is Mr. Kevin Ring, who's a former member of Jack Abramoff's lobbying team who has information about Mr. Abramoff's practice pertinent to the investigation, and Mr. Shawn Vasell, who is a former member of Jack Abramoff's lobbying team who has information about Mr. Abramoff's practice pertinent to the investigation. Mr. Ring, we will begin with you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, I'm sorry to be here today under these circumstances. As I informed the committee a few weeks ago on the advice of counsel, I regretfully must decline to answer any questions concerning the subject matter of this hearing. I'm sorry that clients for whom I worked have had to endure the enormous emotional and financial burden associated with this matter, as well as the multiple investigations it prompted. As the committee knows, and as my counsel has advised me, my constitutional right to remain silent at this time would be forfeited should I try to answer any questions. Therefore, I must abide by that advice and would like to truly apologize for not being able to answer the committee members' questions at this time.
Let me make it clear, Mr. Ring, you are asserting your rights under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution. Is that correct?
That's correct, Senator.
Mr. Vasell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, honorable members of the committee, I am here today at the committee's request with the greatest respect for the important work of this committee and the Senate itself. I have been called to testify because of my past association with Mr. Jack Abramoff, whose activities are the focus of this committee's current inquiry. The committee staff reached out to me earlier this year and assured me they sought my information solely as a witness to the conduct of others. Given the range of pending investigations and inquiries relating to the work of Mr. Abramoff's government affairs practice, I engaged outside counsel to guide me towards my goal of providing meaningful and complete cooperation to such efforts. I now feel constrained to follow that guidance. Accordingly, I assert my privilege under the Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution and decline to respond to questions related to my employment in Mr. Abramoff's group. I reached that decision reluctantly and with no purpose of impeding the committee's inquiry. I am persuaded that this is the right decision, however, and I will maintain it in response to any and all questions from the committee today. In advance of this hearing, my counsel confirmed my position in writing to the committee, yet I was not excused from this appearance. Therefore, I yield to questions of the committee. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Both of you have the right, obviously, to assert your Fifth Amendment rights, and the committee obviously will respect it. Mr. Ring, what is KAR Consulting? And you can respond if you wish to. I assert your privileges, Fifth Amendment privileges under your previous statement, if you choose.
Yeah, I respectfully invoke my constitutional right.
And according to the information we have, KAR Consulting is a Maryland limited liability company formed on April 25, 2002 and registered to your home address. We have attached corporate registration from the Maryland Department of Assessments and Taxation. In February 2004, KAR Consulting, which is listed to your home address, Mr. Ring, received a $25,000 payment from a company called Grassroots Interactive. We have an exhibit, which I will enter the record without objection, Exhibit 183 of December 15, 2003, check for $25,000 from Grassroots Interactive LLC to KAR Consulting. Do you know who KAR Consulting is, Mr. Ring?
I respectfully invoke my constitutional right under the Fifth Amendment.
At the time of the payment, did you know that Jack Abramoff controlled Grassroots Interactive?
Mr. Chairman, I respectfully invoke my constitutional right under the Fifth Amendment.
In March and April 2002, did you receive a total of $125,000 from Michael Scanlon's company, Capital Campaign Strategies?
Mr. Chairman, I respectfully invoke my constitutional right under the Fifth Amendment.
Did that money come from payments made by Pueblo Sandia Tribe of New Mexico to Capital Campaign Strategies?
Mr. Chairman, I respectfully invoke my constitutional right under the Fifth Amendment.
What services benefiting the Pueblo Sandia did you provide for that $125,000? In fact, you didn't provide any services according to the information that we have. Let's take a look at Exhibit 43. It's an email exchange between you, Mr. Ring, and Jack Abramoff, dated April 24, 2001. In that email, you asked Mr. Abramoff whether there is any way to, quote, bury, unquote, your university club dues in the Choctaw or SGMA bill. What do you mean when you asked Mr. Abramoff whether you could bury your university club dues in the Choctaw bill?
Regretfully, Mr. Chairman, I must respectfully invoke my constitutional right under the Fifth Amendment.
Did you ever seek to expense your university club dues to the Mississippi Choctaw or to any other clients of Greenberg Traurig?
I respectfully invoke my constitutional right under the Fifth Amendment.
I now refer to Exhibit 136, which is Mr. Ring's expense report for September 27, 2002, in which he apportions his club's dues to the Choctaw Indian tribe. Mr. Vasell, please review Exhibit 47, an email exchange between you, Mr. Vasell, and Mr. Abramoff dated June 19, 2001. It begins with you asking Mr. Abramoff why Michael Scanlon was billing time to Greenberg Traurig clients. Did Mr. Scanlon bill time through Greenberg Traurig to the Choctaw in 2001?
Mr. Chairman, I respectfully decline to answer that question on the basis of my privilege under the Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, not to be made a witness against myself. It is my intention to respond to all of the committee's questions in this same manner.
Were you concerned that Mr. Scanlon was billing Greenberg Traurig clients through the law firm?
Mr. Chairman, I respectfully decline to answer that question on the basis of my privilege under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
You were the tribe's client manager. You were aware, weren't you, of Mr. Abramoff billing the tribe for fees and expenses unrelated to the services that Greenberg Traurig provided the tribes?
Mr. Chairman, I respectfully decline to answer the question on the basis of my constitutional right.
I refer both to Mr. Ring and Mr. Vasell to Exhibit 37, which is on the screen. I'll quote from it. Which is a March 14, 2001 email exchange between Jack Abramoff and his executive assistant. In it, Mr. Abramoff indicates he will ask the client managers to tell him how many hours they want him to bill. Either one of you, both of you, do you know that, did Mr. Abramoff ever fabricate time for himself or any associate to bill the Choctaw? You can just say I gave you the same answer.
Same indication,
Mr. Chairman.
Let's take a look at Exhibit 53, an email between Abramoff and his assistant dated August 29, 2001. In it, the assistant indicates that he is, quote, creatively, let's find Exhibit 53. Is this it? In it, the assistant indicates that he, quote, creatively, unquote, entering Mr. Abramoff's July and August time for the Choctaw account, quote, with the help of some great language Shawn and Kevin have provided. Shawn and Kevin have provided. What kind of language did you provide Mr. Abramoff for billing purposes?
Again, Mr. Chairman, the same answer.
Mr. Vasell, I'd like to take a look at Exhibit 42, which is an April 18, 2001 email from Mr. Abramoff to you. In that email, Mr. Abramoff instructs you to add 60 hours to the Choctaw bill to pump up Scanlon, Todd, and you. Was this done?
Again, Mr. Chairman, I have to invoke my constitutional right.
March 2001 bill to the Choctaw total $147,340.50, in fees, and the April 2001 bill totaled $146,963.97. Well, the list goes on, and I'm sorry that two young men like yourself are engaged in such activities that you come before this committee and invoke your constitutional rights under the Fifth Amendment. We had hoped that you would cooperate with the committee. Obviously, you have chosen not to do so, which again is your right. Senator Dorgan, I don't think there's any additional questions for the witnesses that they've invoked their Fifth Amendment rights.
Mr. Chairman, they certainly have a right to invoke that privilege, but I share your disappointments. I believe that justice would be better served by being forthcoming about what has happened here, but I think you have asked a series of questions that are questions that I would have asked as well, and I have no further questions.
Witnesses are dismissed.